Could I have a student from the mic number 1, please?
Hi, I'm Kuan Yew. I'm a communication student. I'm year 4. I'm Singaporean. I wish to ask a question regarding religious harmony. As you know, the census over the past 30 years has shown an incremental...
Hang on. Slow down.
Okay.
He's a Singaporean. He's in the School of Communications
Where is
and
he?
Information. He is on the left here. Yeah.
Is he standing up?
Can you raise your hand and say hello?
Hi, Mr. Lee.
Okay.
All right. Now slow down. Yeah.
Okay, because I was observing the census for the past 30 years, there's an incremental increase in the number of non-religious people in Singapore. So a few days ago, Acting Minister for NTYS, MG Chan Chun Sing, he spoke about the growing divide between the religious and non-religious around the world. And Singapore might not be immune to such influences. My question is, do you think Singapore in the future could include non-religious representatives in the interreligious organization, the IRO, so as to promote and strengthen religious harmony in Singapore?
First, I do not agree that there is a religious and non-religious divide. I beg to differ from Chun Sing. When I make a friend, you ask what your religion is before you make a friend?
No, never.
Well, so I don't see the divide. The divide is between competing religions. If you try to convert an Islam to Christianity, you know there'll be a very big row. It is the religions that compete against each other, not the competition is not between the religious and the non-religious.
Okay, in any event of religious conflict in any country, the non-religious are also part of the country, and sometimes they might get implicated in the process. They might lose their jobs, and they might be affected by a weakening economy. So, would it be good if the non-religious also have a say in the interreligious organization to let other religions know what they feel also?
No, I don't see how that helps. The interreligious organizations is to try and reconcile the competing claims of various religions on wanting to win converts. So if you have non-converts join them, how does that help?
To gain an understanding of how the non-religious feel also.
The non-religious view does not want to be converted. If you try to convert me, I'll say thank you very much. I've thought about heaven and hell. I'm prepared to face either, if either of them exists.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
May I have the question from, at mic number 4, please. Feel free to. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, Mr. Lee. My name is Munir. I'm a PhD student also in my third year from the School of Biological Sciences. I'm a Singaporean, born and bred here. As Prime Minister, your team made many difficult decisions to transform Singapore, but it also generated some initial resentment. We know that transformation in its nature is very disruptive. And do you think my generation will be appreciative or even tolerant of a similarly strong style of leadership that might be needed to drive any vision forward in Singapore in the face of today's, more vocal type of resistance or opposition?
How old are you?
I'm 27 this year, sir.
Sorry?
27.
And doing a PhD? Yes?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
I think you know the answer to your question. How can it make any difference whether the population is receptive or non-receptive to the persuasion of any single group. As Singapore grows more segmented with a more diverse educational levels, you will not have the same homogeneous mass of people to rally behind a single policy. What's good for the middle income will be seen by the lower incomes as unfavorable to them. What's good for the higher income will be resented by the middle income. So it is a different society that we face, and therefore the political leaders will have a much more complicated job of getting the society as a whole to accept a program which is segmented to meet the needs of various stratas of society. In my time as Prime Minister, the bulk of the population were not university educated, only about 3 or 4%, 5%, or perhaps later on at the most 10%. And the others, very few were in the polys. Now 50% are graduates, another 20 or more percent are poly graduates, diplomas, and the others are ITEs, and the ITEs are not very far behind the poly. So you have a highly competitive economy and a competitive different groups of people. So it becomes very difficult to forge policies which are homogeneous and appeals to all. They have been segmented to fit each social group. And as I've said, the fact that you're a graduate does not mean that you're all going to get the same returns. It doesn't mean that because you're a graduate, you're as good as a graduate in the 1960s or 1970s, when there were only 5, 6, 7% graduates. We haven't become brighter as a population. We've become more educated, that's all. And that's the problem the government faces. And that's the problem the public faces, because they've got to understand that, because no policy can satisfy all segments.
Thank you, sir.
May I have the question from behind? Mic number 3, please. Yes, you will get your turn, I assure you. I guarantee it. Yeah. Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Lee. My name is Po Long, currently studying at NTU, but not a PhD student. So, we know that Singapore is trying to be... Sorry?
What school are you studying in? Yeah.
In psychology. Yeah. We know that Singapore is trying to be self-sufficient.
Hang on.
Are you a Singaporean?
Yes, Singaporean.
How old are you? No, it gives me an idea of the number of years you've lived.
Okay, 23 years old, I'm attached. Yeah.
23 years old, unmarried.
We know that Singapore is trying to be self-sufficient in terms of water, but with regards to energy, do you think that it's inevitable for Singapore to have nuclear power? And if that's the case, what challenges do you think Singapore will face with regards to this option?
Eventually, every country will have to consider nuclear power, because if you have a completely carbon-based economy, either coal or oil, earth warming will become a dangerous climatical change for everybody with rising sea levels. Can it be managed after the fearful events at Fukushima, where an earthquake and a tsunami and the breakdown of the nuclear power station? Yes, I think it can. And it must, because there's no other choice. Mine may be a minority view at present, but you look at the alternative. Burn all the coal, burn all the oil or gas, warm up the earth, sea levels rise, inundate big cities like Shanghai, Calcutta, even New York will be at risk, and Singapore definitely. So, can it be made safe? I think so. China and U.S. and China is trying to do the same, to have nuclear-powered submarines that can stay under the ocean for years without detection. And they produce their own water and their own oxygen, recycled. Now, if they can make nuclear machines, power machines, that's safe for a group of 150 people or more in a submarine. It is not beyond the imagination of man to make it safe for multiples of that number. That's my belief.